lovely day, besties! Welcome to my podcast entitled The Cry of the Philippine Revolution. I am Maria Shelo Cobrado from Bachelor of Science in Social Work, first year Set C. So the objectives in this podcast is to criticize each author of the revolution, to determine each version that makes it controversial, and to compare and contrast each version. The first author was Pio Valenzuela. He wrote the Cry of Pugadlawin version. Pio Valenzuela is the eyewitness of the event. In his version, he told that the prime starting point of the cry was in Balintawak on Wednesday of August 26, 1896. He held this account when the happenings or events are still vivid in his memory. On the other hand, later in his life and with a fading memory, he wrote his memory of the revolution without consulting the written documents of the Philippine Revolution, and claimed that the cry took place at Pugadlawin on August 23, 1896. So here is the sequence of events happened on Valenzuela's account. On August 19, 1896, Andres Bonifacio, Chodor Plata, and Aguido del Rosario was first arrived in Balintawak, and the 500 members of Katipunan met in the house and yard of Apolonio Samson at Kangkong. And in August 23, 1896, over 1,000 members of the Katipunan met and carried out considerable debate and discussion. After 6 days, the revolution started against the Spanish government and the tumultuous meeting, and many tore their cedula certificates. So that's happened on the Cry of Pugadlawin version. The second author was Santiago Alvarez, who wrote the version of the Cry of Bahay Toro. Santiago Alvarez is not an eyewitness of this event, unlike Dr. Pio Valenzuela. This version of Alvarez is not given of equal value as compared with the other version, for authors of other accounts are actually part of this historic event. So here is the sequence of events happened on Alvarez's account. On Sunday, August 23, 1896, the Katipuneros met together at place called Sampalucan, barrio of Bahay Toro, and about 500 of men arrived. On Monday at 10 o'clock, August 24, 1896, the Supremo decided to hold a meeting inside a big barn, and about 1,000 Katipuneros arrived. The meeting was adjourned at 12 o'clock amidst loud cries of, "Long live the son of the country!" And that's happened on the Cry of Bahay Toro version. Next author, we have Gregoria de Jesus, who wrote the version of the first cry. De Jesus is a participant of this event and became the keeper of Katipunan's secret documents. After the revolution in August 1896, she lived in Caloocan with her parents, then fled to Manila when she was told that the Spanish authorities wanted to arrest her. Eventually, she joined her husband, Andres Bonifacio, in the mountain and shared adversities with him. In her account, the first cry of freedom occurred near Caloocan on August 25, 1896. So here is the sequence of events happened on Gregoria de Jesus' account. Activities of the Katipunan had reached nearly all corners of the Philippine archipelago. Its existence was discovered and she arrested. So they immediately returned to Caloocan. So Andres Bonifacio and other Katipuneros left the town after some days. And on August 25, 1896, the uprising began with the first cry for freedom, and they fled town at 11 o'clock at night, going through the rice fields of La Loma, then returned to Manila and joined her husband in the mountains and shared hardship and sacrifices of a patriot's life. And that's what happened on the version of the first cry of Gregoria de Jesus. The last author was Guillermo Masangkay, who wrote the Cry of Balintawak version. Guillermo Masangkay is an eyewitness of the historic event and a childhood friend of Bonifacio. According to Masangkay, the first rally of the Philippine Revolution happened on August 26, 1896. at Balintawak. The date and site presented in this version were accepted by the preliminary years of American government. So here is the sequence of events happened on Guillermo Masangkay's account. The big meeting was held in Balintawak with the purpose of discussing when would the uprising take place. Plata Pantas, Valenzuela. On starting the revolution early, Bonifacio left the hall and talked to the people outside. He appealed to them with a speech and he asked the people to give pledge that they were to revolt. They tore their cedulas, and after the people's pledge was obtained, Bonifacio returned to the hall and he informed everyone to the board of directors and who also voted for the revolution. And they had warning that Spaniards are coming, and there was a huge conflagration. And that's what happened on Guillermo Masangkay's account. Based on the four accounts, there are different versions on the date and venue for the first cry of revolution. To conclude, even if there are different versions of the cry of the Philippine Revolution, it doesn't matter at all. What matters the most is the significance of this historic event. Because of this event, it made the Filipinos to be united with a common goal, a goal to resist colonialism. It made the Filipinos to realize the value of freedom and independence and the need to fight for it, to prove that they are worthy to be called a truly free Filipino.